right, last thing, and we're going to punch up Martin Frank in just a second. We haven't had Martin on in a couple of weeks. Looking forward to talking to Mr. Frank. When you get your first opportunity to talk to Coach Sirianni, all right, if you don't want to ask him about Quez Watkins, and now the threat of Quez Watkins has somehow been doused.
Don't have to ask him that. He volunteers it.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, he might just jump there. I can guarantee he's not going to volunteer any position on how target shopping has gone for any of his Eagle players of late. Story this week that wasn't a big deal, but at least it was a story on how Jalen Carter had an issue doing some shopping at Target where the police needed to get involved. It ended up being something that they worked it out, and he was allowed to leave, and the police left as well. But anytime the police are involved with a Philadelphia Eagle player, it's a legitimate story. Will that be broached with Coach Sirianni today? And what do you think his?
Well, I hesitate to even talk about it. Was it a story? Who reported this story?
Well, I can tell you yesterday, E.J. Smith, in a charitable appearance that Jalen Carter made, attempted to ask Jalen Carter about it. And the Eagle representative who was there stepped in and said, Jalen won't be answering any questions on that. So if you need to have a legitimate journalist.
No, I'm glad you said that because I didn't know EJ did bring it up. I will, and EJ is a legitimate journalist. He's the first I've seen bring it up, and that's why I was hesitant to talk about it because we've been, working behind the scenes when heard the rumors. Kelly Oubre is another example of this. There's a lot of rumors going on around with Kelly, and it's more focused because TMZ got a hold of some, they pay for video.
Yeah, video. Yep.
All that kind of stuff. So there's a little bit more substance to the Kelly Oubre stuff, but there's a lot of rumors out there that are untoward and, go down in a lot of dark directions, and there's no evidence to that to this point. In the case of Jalen, there was an alleged incident where someone else, not Jalen Carter, was at self-checkout and did not scan all the items, which I can relate to. And he took the bags and attempted to leave, not paying attention. And again, this is all alleged, and it was stopped. And there was a little words because he's probably, what's going on? Why are you attacking me? And then, ultimately, he was released. No one charged. So to me, the story stops there. Now, you can ask Jalen Carter. You can ask Nick Sirianni. Well, the Eagles stopped it, but we'll get to see Jalen in the locker room. The Eagles might try to keep him out, but at some point, if BJ wants to ask him the question there, or somebody else wants to ask him the question there, you can certainly do it. I can tell you, you're wasting your time with Nick on the podium. We work behind the scenes. So, and if there were any police report or any obviously arrest or any angst in that direction, it would be a legitimate story. I don't know if somebody failing to scan at self-checkout is a legitimate story, but some people do, some people don't. But me personally, I'm not going to waste my time with the head coach in a press conference because it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I would say if the police need to be called into the store, then it's a legitimate story. It has ended. As like I said, no actions were taken. It's over and done with. Hopefully there's no revisiting or no repeating of the actions. But I do think if that's what's transpired and there's enough report, like I said, I don't think E.J. Smith would attempt to ask a question if his sources didn't tell him. At least the police were called to show up at the store. That makes it a legitimate story. A big story, no. Something that will have lingering effects. You have to hope not, that that's not the case. But I do think if the police are called, that makes it legit, at least in my eyes. If you say Not even going to bother with Sirianni because we know what the answer is going to be, and we've gotten our answers behind the scenes off the record.
No, well,
that's
I should say, in today, I'm not even going to bother with Sirianni because we've already done this work behind the scenes, and we already have the sort of indication of which way it's going to go. I'm not saying, well, we're going to take it at Nick Sirianni's word. I'm just saying it's not valuable to waste particular time, especially on this week. This is the kind of story that, you're only going to, now, sometimes you want to get somebody on the record when there's a legitimate story. Sometimes you want to, what the answer is going to be, but you want to get somebody on the record.
Right.
That to me is not the case in this particular story. Look, I mean, Jalen's, I don't know, 6'4", 320 pounds, people get spooked at big people. I don't know. Bottom line is self-checkout. Somebody didn't run a banana through self-checkout. I realize this history. I realize some people are going to say, oh, and then he's doing a charity, and people have said that to me. Well, then he's out doing charity Thanksgiving work. That was scheduled before the incident. It was scheduled for a long time. So that there's nothing to that part of it as well.
No, I give him credit for going out. If this was something that was actually a potential problem going forwards, you kind of come up with sniffles and you can't make it to that thing. The fact that he showed up and did it, something that he had already committed to and he stuck to for a good cause, good on Jalen Carter. I give him props for doing that yesterday.
Yeah, and I don't give him props or not. I mean, I'm just pointing out it was scheduled before, because a lot of people brought up to me, well, they're trying to do,
deodorant. That's what you're saying. They had to get him out. Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't even think along those lines.
Well, no. I only bring it up because some people said, oh, look what they're doing. They're trying to get him out there, trying to make him look good. No, and that was scheduled long before the incident.
Exactly.
People, as I said, if there were a police report, if there were an arrest, even a point where, the worst part of this was that, he probably could have been nicer to the security people, from what I was told. And okay, if you want to kill him for that, feel free, I guess.
No, but I think it's a story of note. Not changing the outlook of the Eagles, not changing my outlook on the unbelievable rookie season he's had. But if the police are summoned to be involved, I don't think you can just pretend that it didn't happen. All right, he's McMullen on McDonald. That makes it Smack and Mac Birds 365. I see. Oh, I guess he's got his camera up and running. I was told that Martin Frank was having camera issues, but we're going to see his smiling face and hear his pleasant voice and his insight on the Philadelphia Eagles next here on Birds 365.